What if I told you that one of the most destructive animals on Earth, an animal that literally destroyed a continent, became the reason a dead desert came back to life? Yeah, I know that sounds crazy, because when we hear this animal's name, we think disaster, chaos, infestation. But today, this same creature flipped the rules of nature upside down. And what you're about to hear will completely change the way you see deserts, governments, animals, and even the future of our planet. Stay with me, because if you leave even for a second, you'll miss how a so-called mistake turned into one of the greatest ecological miracles ever recorded. Welcome back, fam. This is one of those stories where reality hits harder than fiction. No exaggeration, no fantasy, just straight-up facts that sound unbelievable. Let's start with something simple. Australia, a massive country, roughly 22.7 million people living there. Now here's the wild part. Australia is also home to over 200 million rabbits. That's almost 10 times more rabbits than humans. And these rabbits, they didn't just chill there. They destroyed crops, ate native plants, caused massive soil erosion, and pushed entire ecosystems to the edge. So much damage that the Australian government officially labeled rabbits as a destructive invasive species. Basically, public enemy number one. Now pause here, because while Australia was spending billions trying to eliminate rabbits, another country was quietly importing them. Not hundreds, not thousands, millions. China imported over 4 million rabbits in the last 3 decades. And no, not for food, not for pets, and not for fur at first. They brought them into one of the most brutal, lifeless, and terrifying deserts on Earth. A place known for swallowing land year after year. A place locals once called the Sea of Death. The Kabuki Desert. And this is where the story turns insane. Desertification. It's a silent killer. It doesn't explode. It doesn't make noise. It just spreads. Slowly, relentlessly, 1 inch at a time. When fertile land turns into desert, that process is called desertification. And China has been fighting it for decades. At one point, the Kabuki Desert was expanding by 500,000 acres every single year. Let that sink in. Every year, 500,000 acres of usable land gone. Swallowed by sand. Farms destroyed. Villages abandoned. People forced to leave. The Chinese government tried everything. Tree plantations, sand control stations, massive engineering projects, billions of dollars, decades of effort, and still, the desert kept winning. Then came a man nobody took seriously. A local entrepreneur named Wang Wenbei. No fancy title, no global fame, just a guy who refused to accept that the desert was unbeatable. People laughed at him. Straight up laughed, because his ideas sounded insane. He started laying dead shrubs across the desert in perfect square grids. No machines, no magic, just dry bushes placed carefully on the sand. Then, inside those grids, he planted willow trees. Now, if you're wondering why willows, here's the crazy part. Willow trees can survive in extreme conditions. Their roots don't stop at a few feet. They go hundreds of feet underground searching for water. Some roots reach nearly 300 feet deep, and once they find moisture, they lock onto it. But the desert fought back. Strong winds ripped through Kabuki. Sandstorms erased moisture. Young plants died fast. That's why Wang surrounded the willows with shrubs. Those shrubs blocked the wind, killed the sun, and protected the moisture. For 3 years, things worked. The trees survived. People stopped laughing. Then another problem hit. To sell willow wood for paper and furniture, the trees needed maintenance. New branches had to be cut constantly so the main trunk could grow thicker and stronger. In a desert, with no manpower, no money, and insane costs, this became impossible. That's when Wang did something nobody expected. He brought in rabbits. Not just any rabbits. Rex rabbits, a special breed known for ultra-soft fur, used in luxury clothing. But the fur wasn't the main reason. Rex rabbits love eating young willow, branchista, exact branchista. Humans needed to cut, so the rabbits ate. The trees grew stronger. The trunks thickened. Paper companies paid premium prices. The rabbits stayed fed. Costs dropped. Profits rose. The environment was winning. The economy was winning. But this was just the beginning. Those deep willow roots started doing something incredible. They stabilized the sand. They locked moisture underground. Suddenly, sandstorms weakened. Evaporation slowed down. The desert began to change, quietly. Then the rabbits showed their real power. Rabbit waste. Yeah, poop. In China's zero-waste system, rabbit manure became gold, a natural fertilizer, rich in nutrients, perfect for dead soil. And here's the kicker. Rex rabbits reproduce like crazy. One female can give birth to up to 50 babies per year. More rabbits meant more fertilizer. More fertilizer meant richer soil. The sand turned darker. Darker soil held water. Water allowed life. Grass started growing. Now listen closely. This part is genius. Rabbits can digest grass, but not grass seeds. So the seeds passed through their system, untouched, dropped back into the soil, already fertilized. That's natural planting. No machines, no labor. Just biology doing its thing. Grass spread, vegetables followed, farms appeared. A self-sustaining cycle was born. The desert was greening. Wang didn't stop. He rented 100 bulldozers, flattened dunes, filled pits, and leveled the land. He planted more willows. With government support, millions of rabbits were distributed to local families. Every house became a mini. Income replaced poverty. 10 years passed. The impossible happened. Out of Kabuki, 18,600 square kilometers, over 6,250 square kilometers turned green. That's 1/3 of a desert. Revived. The sea of death became an ecological miracle. But the impact wasn't just environmental. The government invested 3 billion yuan, around $400 million. New villages were built, jobs were created, and over 2,000 farms began operating. 3 million rabbits were sold every year. Farmers who once fled the desert now earn nearly $9,600 annually. Some became wealthy. Entire communities were transformed. Thousands of lives were changed forever. And then, another twist. A solar power plant. Not a normal one. The largest solar panel image on Earth. 6,000 acres. 5 million panels. From space, it looks like a running horse, a Guinness World Record. By 2022, it had generated 2.3 billion kilowatt hours of electricity, saved thousands of tons of coal, and cut carbon emissions massively. But here's the genius part. The solar panels block sunlight from hitting the ground. Less sunlight means less evaporation. More moisture stays trapped. Grass grows under the panels. And guess who maintains that grass? Yep, the rabbits. They eat the grass, fertilize the soil, spread seeds, and reduce wind speed by 50%. Less sand movement means more stability. Sheep, ducks, rabbits, living together. Willow forests nearby, solar panels above. A dead desert turned into a living system. Now comes the question everyone asks. If rabbits can do this, why did they destroy Australia? The answer is control. In Australia, rabbits live wild. No limits, no balance, no natural predators. In China, rabbits are managed, controlled, and integrated into an ecosystem where everyone benefits. Same animal, different system, different result. Disaster in one place, blessing in another. Today, researchers worldwide call this an eco-economic revolution, a model where nature and humans don't fight, they cooperate. Nearly 50% of Earth's land is desert or at risk. 40% is actively degrading. Europe, America, the world, is watching. Because Kabuki proved one thing. If humans stop forcing nature and start working with it, even a sea of death can become a sea of life. And it all started with a rabbit. Thanks for watching. Do not forget to like and subscribe for more stories that will change the way you see the world.